Alright everybody, I went through and I did all of my rivets and everything, and I black based out everything. Remember that when you black base stuff out, there's two problems that can happen. One, it can well up. Now obviously it didn't well up because I painted it on, and wherever it welled up, I got rid of it by taking my brush, drying it out, and then drawing out the extra black paint and getting it back on paper, and just going back and forth, and that'll keep your detail level at the highest point that you can get. The other thing that you have to remember is paint wants to shrink, so you're gonna get light areas like that. Just go back in with a small detail brush, you know, like this, and just hit it up with a black again, okay? And that'll give you a nice solid black base to work from, like I've got here, okay? So I've got two types of red. I've got my base red, and I'm going to be using this reddish orange as my highlight. I am not even sure what it is. Flame orange, that's my highlight color, and primary red is my other one, and one is craft paint, and the other one's Americana. So people said they wanted to see how it was going to look dry brush, so I'm going to do a live vid on this, and hopefully it'll work. Hopefully I won't look stupid after this. But reality being that it is, I'm certain it'll find some way of making me look bad. So what you want to do when you're laying down your base coat is you don't want too much or too little. If you go too little, your highlight layers are going to look weak. Actually, pardon me, they're going to look too strong. Flip that around in my mind. So you want it thick enough that it's going to give you good coverage, but not get down in all those cracks and crevices. So here we go. And also, whenever you're dealing with a heavy grain like I've got, because I cut this on a saw, you got to deal with that. And obviously this is looking badly. And it's because I've got really, really deep grains in the surface area. So this is probably not going to turn out very good, but you'll still get a rough idea of where I'm coming from with this. You know, getting a proper ratio of paint on your brush when you're dealing with big crevices and stuff like this is really important, guys. I really can't stress it enough. And as always, you want to go against the grain, but with the grains being this deep, if they're not getting the texture, or if you're not getting the coverage, you're going to have to go with the grain. And I realize it's breaking a major dry brushing rule, but you know, it's the nature of the surface and trying to get accomplished what you're trying to get accomplished. I'm trying to make this look like a paint job, even though it's a beat up one. I'm trying to get it to look like that. So for time's sake, I'm only going to do about half of this. I'll do like, actually I'll go in thirds. So you'll see a third of it in black, a third of it in red, and then you'll see a third of it in the highlight tone. I think Cam Lupian said it the best. Sometimes we don't so much as dry brush as dry mash. And remember, you can always go back over this and ink it. You can always ink it again if you need your lines to get picked up again. So, this is what I've got. Okay. It's not the prettiest. It's kind of hard where my light is always badly placed. But you see how all my lines and rivets are popping out? That's the important thing, folks. That's what's gonna, you know, that's what's gonna make your piece look right. Alright, on to my dry brushing layer. Or my highlight layer, pardon me. Remember, always clean your brush out when you're going to lighter colors. If you're going to darker colors, not that important. And remember, you can always go back and do your rust effects. You want to do your rust effects also usually along your edging, because rust tends to eat away at the edges of things as opposed to like start in the center, unless of course there's been damage there, you know. So I'm doing basically the same thing I was doing, but I'm just doing it a little bit lighter. I want some of that red to show through, but I want this to look like, you know, the sun is hitting it or whatever. Okay. Maybe I can, if I can find my metals, I'll do some metal work on this. But now, see how we go from black, and then we move into the primary red, and then we work more into the highlight orange layer of it. Okay. As long as I'm playing, I might as well continue to play. How much time do I got? 3 minutes. Okay. Let's see, I got some mithril silver here. Okay. What I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to try and get my my sections to look a little bit. This isn't going to be rusty as opposed to like new metal, like a vehicle just recently ran into it or something. And you don't, how do I say this? You don't need to do a lot. And remember, it's always better to work off of a black base than it is to work off of any other color, because it will cause your metalwork to look a little bit different. And it's a kind of an easy way to pick out your rivets as well. Since this is fresh metal and not rust, I'm going to be showing it kind of just like it's recently been tore up, vehicle smashed into it or something, which is not hard to believe for orcs in any stretch of the imagination. The main thing is you don't want to let the red through. It kills the illusion that it's steel. You can let black show through, but if you let that red show through, it's going to just look wrong. So make sure it's on thick enough that you can get away with and do that. I'll just do this on the first section. How am I doing? Ooh, not good. And here we go. And you sometimes want to have strange etchings. Like if you ever seen like a drill go across something, it'll leave like a series of lines. Sometimes you want to have different angles, like things get smashed in. Where am I at? Okay, this isn't. I wouldn't call this a failure. And you can go across lines too. That's where your dry brushing comes back into play. So here we go. This is how it looks with beat up metal. So that's my quick and dirty for metal plating and rivets and scratch work on it. Love you guys. Bye bye.